Hi my friends, this is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I want to give you a special welcome and thank you to all our friends and supporters everywhere. As you have seen from our announcement video, two of my friends and I want to come together and collaborate and put together something special just for the season, just before the holiday season. Now, my friend Helene, Cabin Fever Crochet, she kicked it off with a beautiful crochet hat. And in her tutorial, you can just see how much she loves sharing and teaching. Every stitch, she wants every stitch to just be right, just for you. So I want to thank her for all that she did and all her ideas and how she, just worked so hard to make this come true. And then my friend Tom, the needle and hooker, oh my gosh, he just knocked it out of the water. All right, not only did he do a beautiful tutorial, but he shared his big surprise. We were so careful not to reveal the surprise before he had a chance to tell you his story, the backstory. So now if you've watched Helene, she was first, and then Tom, then you got to finally see the big surprise that we were all kind of, it was a big secret. Well, the big surprise was he has always wanted or had a big dream to be a singer-songwriter. And once he left California and moved back to Tennessee, where his family and, relatives live, he was able to step out and pursue this dream. And I'm telling you, dreams do come true. If you work it and you and believe, dreams do come true. And his dream came true. And so you have, as you know, the big surprise is that he has a new video, a new music video where he wrote the song and he's singing it, and he collaborated with people in Tennessee to come up with this beautiful rendition of this song that he wrote. And it is just right. The message is good. It's perfect for where we are right now, with so many distractions and just so much. He wrote a beautiful song. So what I want you to do, before I even get started, I would love for you to go over. I'm going to put not only his regular link and Helene's link in my show notes, but I'm going to put the music video link in the show notes too. And I would like for you to go over and just listen. Just take a minute or so and go over and listen and know that he, like I said, he wrote the song. And then he's performing the song with musicians and everything. I'm telling you, we were just like, wow. And so happy for him. A dream that he said he's had for a long time. And isn't it funny? COVID kind of helped it come true, because he was able to come back to be with his family during this time of COVID. And he was able to, I guess, to get into the studio and was able to come up with this beautiful song and this beautiful video to share with the world. Okay, Jay, now I got some fiber there. All right, what are you adding to the Pinecone Fall Festival 2021? And let me show you this. This is what I'm calling my Pinecone Lace Pocket Shawl. My Pinecone Lace Pocket Shawl. See that? Isn't that pretty? And it's just a very easy to knit project that any level of knitter can do, from beginner, intermediate, or seasoned like me. It's just a nice, fun piece. And of course, I'm going to take you to the counter and give you a full overview. But I just wanted to let you see me wear it and let you know this is just perfect. This reminds me of, in fact, of my craft show days. This would have been perfect to wear, like I said, to a fall festival or to a concert in the park or to a craft show, you know, when I used to go to craft shows or be in craft shows. Wouldn't that be pretty to wear? So, and it's an easy knit because it's mainly just knit every row except the lace. And the lace, if you have worked with me before, you may have already practiced this lace with me. It's from my stitch tutorial number 8. And I just simply, when I first did the stitch, I said, remember this stitch because it just reminds me of a pine cone. Hence, Jay's Pine Cone Lace Pocket Shawl. Just for my friends on the YouTube. So, let me go to the counter so I can lay it out for you and show you how easy to knit, of course easy to wear, and it's a stash buster too. I simply went to my stash and found 3 skeins of Caron Simply Soft in the tweed colorway, and it is perfect. Looks like a pine cone. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started, and I think you're gonna like it. Back in just a minute. So here it is. Now it may not be that I've used this yarn here, and you know this is Caron Simply Soft, and this is one of the speckle yarns. Oh no, this is tweed. This is tweed. Let me just read, see what it says. No, this is tweed. So it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of off-white, creamy color. But anyway, it's called the tweed. And as I hold up the design, you can see how really interesting the design is. But once you knit it and start knitting it, it's not that hard. It looks like you've done a whole lot of work. Alright, so, and then the next thing after you decide on how many repeats you want of this. Now in this sample, I just simply stuck some in the back. Let's see how many I put back here for my size. I'm going to have it on a sheet. You will get a sheet to give you some options. So let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I think I put 11. That's how many I decided to put repeating this pattern. It is a multiple again of 8 plus 3, I believe. And of course, then I decided, well, okay, that's enough. And I give you several formulas. You'll see it on the printout sheet. In fact, when I finish this section, I'm going to have the printout sheet. But I will not be doing, as I said, I will not be doing row by row. We are talking about how to take the stitch that we've already done. You simply go back, and I will link it. You go back, you practice, or if you've already done it, you say, oh yeah, Jay, I like that stitch. Now you know how to come up with a project. And I'll give you the formulas and all of that. But then, after you decide whether you want more than 11, you might want to fill in more. Because the rest of the stitches, the rest of the shawl is just stitch and garter stitch. And some people are just not that crazy about garter stitch. But it's the simplest and easiest way to get a new knitter from a nice pattern into an actual garment. You go right in. You don't have any trying to figure out the right side or the wrong side. It's just knit every row. So now let me pull it down as I do this overview. And as you can see, it is quite long. In fact, this is about, I'm short, but this is right at 18, 19, no, I think it's around 20. I think I got it all the way, almost up to 20 inches from this bottom edge, all the way up to where I want to stop and bind off this section. Because this is the border, the pine cones at the bottom, that's your border. Then all of this section where we just do all garter stitch, this is the collar that will fold back, or the stitches that will fold back and form the big voluptuous collar and the pocket on each end. See, it just folds back like that. And then I'm going to show you, of course, in just a minute, how it looks when we get ready to do the pocket. But we need to bind off first. I want to get it bound off so I can really lay it out. It's still on the needle. I have it, I'm still in the process by the time you see this section of the tape. All right, so now let me show you this. All right, so now I'm just about done with the bind off. I just thought I'd do that off camera. No sense in wasting the battery. But I wanted to come on and show you and remind you again, when you have a long, or a lot of stitches to bind off, this is an easy way, or at least it just makes it go a lot faster. And you don't have maybe you don't have problems. All right, you see, I have the stitches on my circular needle. Okay, this is number 9 circular. All right, and so on one end, I would just put the cap and not try to use the needles, because the weight of the fabric is heavy, and then you're bouncing the whole, you got to turn and flip the whole fabric when you're trying to bind off. And that's a way, sometimes you lose stitches or just have problems. So if you cap this in and just drop it, just let it go down on the floor somewhere. Then again, take any kind, any brand, whatever. These just some bamboo double pointed needles. See? Now the fabric is free and loose. My hands are not trying to hold the fabric, and I'm not trying to flip it, or it's just easy. Now watch it just glide through. So now remember, I'm on the right side of the fabric. Normally I do my bind off, let's just say I try to on the wrong side when possible, or when it looks good. All right, but since this is a collar that's going to be rolled back, I'm going to show you the difference. So let me finish binding off, all right, with this needle and the cable needle, the circular needle that my original stitches are on. So of course you have to knit, and then you just reach back and bind off. See, and I'm not having to deal with all the fabric at one time. And just tearing out my hands and my arms, my wrist, my elbow. Should I go on? All right, so I'm just reaching back and binding off. I knit a stitch, then I just reach back and bind off. On this little short needle, it's easy to bind off stitches really quick. So I reach back and I bind off, knit the next stitch, reach back and bind off, and then I get up to my last stitch. Reach back and bind off. Well, that one didn't want to go, so let me just back out. There we go, right there. Now I'm done with my circular needle, and guess what? I can use it for something else. All right, let me lay it aside. And then you just pull that. You can either pull that through. Sometimes I go back through. It doesn't matter. You just whatever you used to. I don't get into all the little. Everybody's got their own little quirks and way of doing things. So then you just pull it close. All right, and then put that needle up so that we can use it at another time. All right, so now I'm going to check my camera. Let me see if I have it. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. So you can see this is the front. This is the lace of the fabric. So that's the front. I'm going to back out just a little bit. And since this is the collar that's going to roll back towards the front, you see this little line here? You may not be able to see it on mine, but sometimes when you bind off, well, all the time, there's this line that just seems to, I don't know, it just detracts. It just detracts from the pretty finish that I want. So sometimes, or as much as possible, not all the time now, there's always, sometimes you have to bind off on the right side. But if I bind off on the wrong side of, usually I bind off on the wrong side, but I had to bind off on the right side. So look, when I turn the collar as I'm going to wear it, can you see this nice, I'm going to pull it as close as I can. Can you see the nice bound off edge? It just looks like little, it just looks like little pearls. it doesn't look like this funny line that you'll see or you'll notice on this side. So, and that's what I want when I turn back the collar. I don't want to see that line. I want to see these little pretty, I want to see my lace. Let's see, can I pull it over a little bit? And I want to see a nice rollback collar. Does that make sense? All right, now let's see if I can turn it, because now I want to show you. You have a better idea now of how it looks, or how, you know, like when I was wearing it. You're going to turn it, and the lace comes across the shoulders, just like that. Now I'll rearrange my camera in just a minute. Let me just get this out here first. And this makes the shawl. Now can you see it? This is the inside, or the back. Now I'll pull it. And here is that pretty shawl collar. The lace will come over. If you make it long enough, then the lace will come over. See right here? All right, now let me just check my camera and see what I have. Okay, let's see, can I back out a little more? Hold on. And I will go down a little bit. All right, so let's start at the top. So now you see the collar is rolled back. Makes it really pretty warm. You can always let it up if it's really cold. You know, this would be great over, you know, like turtlenecks and things like that that I like to wear. Sometimes I don't need a jacket. I just need my turtleneck sweaters and something like this. And there's a pretty collar, and it just comes right down the front. There's that pretty edge that I put on. All right, now let me just roll this up. Oh, that's pretty on the back too. Oh, should I flip it over real quick? Let me flip it over, and then I'll flip it back. Here is the back to show you how it looks if someone was walking behind you and you had this on. Can you see that? There's the lace. Here's all that garter stitch, I know. And here's the pretty collar that lays back. So what do you think of that? There's that pretty collar. I'm going to pull it in just a little bit because I'm going to get ready to turn it. Now, can you see? We're taking a stitch, okay, and we're learning how to use the stitch or design a garment that the stitch will really just stand out or make the garment. So this stitch and the collar that's all there is. Just a pretty stitch and a collar. So now let me turn it back. I got all those little speckly things all over. Now I'm going to pull it way up because I want to get to the bottom. So let me just kind of fold this up. It's a lot of fabric, but we can do this. Now here is the front. Now I'm going to check my camera and come down. In fact, hold on. I'll be right back. Let me just adjust it even better. All right, so I just readjusted so that we can get to the bottom. This is the front of the shawl. This is the front bottom edge. I just rolled that up. This is the collar, and I folded the collar back to make like a little panel on each side, or the collar comes all the way down. Can you see that? All right, so now instead of sewing, you can sew, but I simply, and once I get it folded back, and you can take a little ruler and measure if you have 6 inches over here, 6 inches over there, whatever it is to make it match. I don't have really large hands, but if you have larger hands, that's why you have to make it as long as you possibly can without just, you may have to just say, will yourself to make it long. All right, so now I want to close up the bottom. And all you're going to do is to cut fringe. You find a book, or I use a CD case, and I cut my fringe that way. And you just want some fringe, and however many strands you want. Let's see what we have here. Oh, let's do at least, I like to do at least one. Let's see, let's make sure I'm on 1, 2, 3. I like an odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I take 5 strands of fringe, and by the time I double it, just like this, it becomes 10. Can you see that? All right. So all you want to do is just come here, and at the bottom of the shawl, you're going to go through, let's see if I'm on the camera, you're going to go through both pieces of fabric. I'll pull that over just a little bit. You're going to go through both front, the back, and the front. You're just going to take a large crochet hook, stick it through both pieces of fabric right here at the edge. Put your fringe. Of course, most people, if you've been making a while, you know how to make fringe for everything. And just stick it through instead of me having to sew. So I'll just get some more strands here. We'll just do some on camera, and then I'll do most of it off camera so I can get it done real quick. See, I just cut a whole bunch of fringe at one time. And yeah, sometimes, you know, you can just always use it for something else. So I had 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the number you're going to go with. Then just make it. Then I like to come over here to this edge. I like to do each edge, then the center, and then the center. Does that make sense? So I'll come to this side. I'll put the crochet hook in. I'll take it and pull the fringe through. Ooh, this is a big hook. I really don't use one this large, but it was handy. So this is, now I'm going to put, then I eyeball and go to the center. I don't know, that always worked. That's how we used to do it when we were crafting, and we made a lot of fringe for things. We do each edge, and then we go to the center. All right, now here's another 5 right here. 5 and 5 becomes 10 so now I can just find a center point that I think it looks like the center, and just go under and do both front and back. Do my fringe. Back out if you didn't get it all at once, and then pull it through. So now I can just fit in here and here, and I really don't have to sew. This is just real casual. This is like a casual shawl. You don't have to do anything fancy. It's more of a sporty, casual type thing. Something I'd wear with my sweatpants if I was running to the grocery store or something. So now here's another 5. And of course you could have 6, 7. I just usually get odd numbers. I don't know why. And then you'd go here and put that in. See, I just eyeballed it. Corners, each side, then the center, and then the center here. So let's see if I can get 5 more. I've gone this far, I may as well just finish this one side. And I just thought it would be fun, since I was not going to re-knit row by row, just to show you how it is easy to just to construct something and see it in real time. There we go. Now make sure you go up under more than. Alright, so now I'll do that. Take my crochet hook, bring that through. Now, when I do, you don't need to, I would not be steaming into this. I would steam the lace on the wrong side lightly. You just take it to your ironing board and hold your steam iron over the lace part on the wrong side. I don't steam the right side. And if you need to pin it and let it sit for a few minutes, you can. But you don't need to steam the garter stitch. But now I do steam my fringe so that my fringe turns out really pretty. I don't want my friend to have a bad hair day. Does that make sense? Some people might like curly fringe. I don't. I want mine to look really pretty. And let's see if I got any of that on the camera. Yeah, I got pretty much most of it. Okay, let's see. And I'll pull that back a little bit. All right, let's see. How does that look? Now, the next little decorative thing, and then I'll have one side almost finished, is to pick some buttons, because we have the bottom sewn. See, now the bottom is sewn. This is the pocket, and it's a side pocket. It's not the, I just don't want to have to make a pocket when I'm through with the shawl. I want it already included. So this is a side pocket. Your hands come in from the side. And like I said, I don't have large hands, so I don't have to have a lot. But if you have large hands, you have to think about that now. And keep putting your hands in, keep knitting and knitting and knitting, and stick your hands, see how you want it. But let's see what we have for buttons. I looked at my button stash. Look at these. These are some that I have shown before. I don't know if they're showing up in the light or in the camera, but they're copper light. They're like copper looking, copper tone looking. That would be pretty. You're going to need just for accent, one here and then one for the top of, so where your hand goes in, you need that closed off. You see? You're going to have a button. In fact, I found these too, if you want to be, like I can have one there and then one way up here, maybe about 6 or 7 inches. You'll have to put your hands in. And then this is what you will actually sew through both pieces of fabric. You'll take a little yarn, this same yarn that we use for the fringe, and you'll attach it. And if you have enough buttons, you can put a dummy button right here in the center if you don't think that's too tacky. That's just up to you. Everybody has a different perspective. But I can easily, since I have a lot of these type little buttons, this is just some I had. I don't know where I got them. I got a lot of buttons until I get ready to find them. Then I can't find hardly anything to match. But I have these. So you could do a dummy button right here in the center. See, it's just attached to the top piece. But these two will be attached to both pieces, both front and back. Does that make sense? Here's another one that I found that would be interesting. It's not as shiny and pretty, but it would also look, it looks pretty much like the yarn. Let me bring it close. These are some that I found on sale, and I have several cards of this pretty brown button. So I could do 1, 2, and then the dummy one right here in the center. I can put a little, let's just take one of these off. I hate to take it off and then I'll lose it, but I'll see. Okay, so you can easily have one. Let's see how they look. I kind of like that. They're not jumping out. They're not like, see if I have enough though. That's the problem. Will I have enough to do 3? Then you'd have to have one here. So here's the dummy one right here in the center. Now what do you think of that for my pockets? And then my hand goes in, or your hand goes in here. Just enough. So that's the button. You'll have to have some type of button closure. The bottom is taken care of. We didn't have to sew. The fringe holds the bottom. You can decide if you want to go all the way across with fringe. If you are a fringe person, you definitely can add more fringe. I just kind of stopped, but I may go all the way across off camera. So we'll just see. All right, so now that's the buttons. You see how easy it is to make this little pocket shawl. So let me do some more off camera, come back for any finishing touches, and then I'll remind you again where to get the row by row link for Jay's stitch tutorial number 8, so that you can do this beautiful stitch. All right, back in just a minute. All right, so before I show you the work that I went ahead and finished it, and I want to show you, just go over a few points, but I wanted to make sure for those that are, maybe didn't see the first J-stitch tutorial number 8, I want to show you what it looks like, and then, of course, I'll share the link so that you can go back. So here's my little stitch. As you saw just before this part of the video came on, I'm showing you the stitch, and I'm going to go over, I share with you an information sheet, which I try to always, type up if I can, if it helps. Usually I like to do it because some people just need something sometimes. They like looking at things or to read some of the instructions, although I do not do written patterns per se, because I enjoy teaching my projects step by step here on my YouTube channel. That way I get to know you and you get to know me, and I just enjoy it. I always say I can show you better than I can tell you. Alright, so here's my we'll just move that out of the way, and then here it is so that you can see. This is how the swatch looked that I did in J-stitch tutorial number 8. I made a swatch, and I remember saying, remember this stitch or keep it in mind, because I'm going to create something to use this stitch in. And voila. But there it is. For those, like I say, since I won't be doing row by row on this little simple project, I'm just simply showing you how to how it comes, how to bring it together, how to construct it, and then. But for those who need a little extra more of, okay, Jay, I really want to see you. I'm still new enough. I really prefer to see you knit each row. Then that's where the tutorial comes in. You just go over, and it's not that long, and it takes you row by row. There's the back. And it's just a lot of fun, and it's a great way, I don't know, for knitting friends to knit together in a pretty stitch. Now, let me go over my sheet, because once I put a sheet up, I like to tell you what I have on the sheet, or if there's anything that that you may not understand. So now, you don't have to read this. It's already up on the screen right before I came on. You can just put it on pause and write the pattern or read over it. I just want you to know what, and I'm going to pull in a little bit just so that I can see it, and I can tell you what I'm. Alright, so here we go. First of all, I'm calling this stitch, when I made the project, the Pinecone Pocket Shawl. So that's just nice and easy, and an easy way for me to remember. Remember, this stitch is a multiple of 8 plus 3. So I'll do 8, 8, 8, however many 8s, and I'm going to show you down here how many you can do if you like. And then at the end of the count, you add 3. I'm using US number 9 circular needles, just because there's a lot of, it's a long piece, it's a long rectangle like I shared with you, so you need a nice long needle. Does that make sense? My yarn is number 4 weight. Even the swatch that I just shared with you is some Care and Simply Soft. Because I do so many projects, I mainly just practice the stitch and then show you how to take the stitch and do something with it. Okay, so now, then this is what I work from. The next thing is J size chart and working formulas. I work from one line. I just make the line that I work from is the number of stitches that I cast on. And how do I find that number? I'm glad you asked. All right, right away, the first thing you have to decide, are you short, medium, or tall? Well, short and medium, that would be me. 11 pattern repeats is what I have on my shawl. It works nice. This will take you across your whole back from one shoulder, across your back to the opposite shoulder. Does that make sense? So you want as many repeats as that as possible. So 11 repeats works out really great, so trust me on it. So I take 8 times 11 is 88 plus the 3. I have 91 stitches. 91 stitches. Okay, now that 91 stitches, as you saw in my little, and you'll see when I give you the finished product, it goes in the very back. but I need something on each side to bring it down each front. So, hence, everyone will cast on an extra 50 stitches on one side, which we will do in garter stitch. That means just knit every row. Then the 91 stitches for the pattern, the pine cone, okay? And then the opposite front, you'll put on another 50 stitches in garter stitch. We'll do it in garter stitch. So if you add this up, 50, 91, 50 comes out, you cast on 191 stitches. Cast on, if you are short to medium, I'd say 5 feet, 5 feet, maybe under 5 feet, 5 inches or so, 6 inches, you know, somewhere like that. You would cast on 191 stitches, and then you're just going to knit 2 rows. And then that's where, then you'll go to the actual row by row, either from the video, where I do it row by row, or I'm going to give it to you on paper in just a minute. All right, if you're taller, you're over 5 feet 6 inches, you know, you're 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", you know, you're just tall. So naturally, your arms are going to be longer and you need something longer. So I suggest, just by the sheer math, add 2 more pattern repeats. So 13 would be a good number for you to try. 8 times 13 is 104, plus 3 is 107 stitches. Now the same thing applies down here. I need something for the front of the shawl. This pattern just goes in the back, across your back from shoulder to shoulder. So I add 50 more stitches for one front, then the 107 stitches for the back for the pattern, and then another 50 stitches for the opposite front. If you add all this up, you'll have a cast on of 207 stitches. 207 stitches for a taller person. Make sense? Then you'll just knit 2 rows. All right, so now those are my formulas. That's how I work things. It's just a lot easier for me than to have 5 or 6 pages. That's how I started working it, and it works out fine. And for those who follow me, I think you have, I think it has really changed, hopefully has changed your knitting a little bit. All right, now let me turn the paper over. Now I've just, like I say, you'll see the sheet on the, make sure I can get it on here. There you go. I'll back out just a little bit. All right. And I simply just typed up every row so that the person, so that you, so my seasoned knitters and advanced knitters, you know, you don't have to go back to the tutorial number 8. You say, oh, Jay, I've done that, or I read patterns, Jay, so I'm okay. So I've already typed it out, tried to space it out nice and even so that you can see it clearly. It's row 1 through 16. All the wrong side rows, you just simply purl the pattern section. The garter ridge section, you knit on every row. Does that make sense? Just like I shared with you. And I'll share it one more time when I show you what I just finished. So you just follow each one, take your time, be very careful, because some of these rows are exactly the same, but I went ahead and printed them out. You know, I'm not one of those who shortcuts. Do row 2, 3, or 4 is like 2, and 7 is like 3. That is so confusing to me. So I just went ahead and put each one out, but you do have to know where you are. Make sure you know, if you get interrupted and come back and they're all the same, these 3 rows are the same, now which one was I on? That's why you need to find some way to mark to know exactly which one you're on. And then there's a nice separation of the pattern. That's row 9. It's different. Then you go into the bottom of the pattern, and then you have 3 more rows that are exactly alike. So you're going to have to take time. Just take your time and make sure you mark and know where you are. Use some kind of, I just use those little sticky things, or, you know, you've seen the little arrows or whatever. I just use some of those, and I just put it, let's see, I'll show you. I get them at, you can get them at the Dollar Tree, you can get them at Walmart. I use these little things. I buy these up by the bundle. So if I get up or get distracted, I know exactly when I come back which row I'm on, since they're all you know, just alike. Now, does that make sense, what I've just shared with you? All right, so now let me just go get the piece. I finished doing all my sewing. I did a little steaming, and now I want to show you what it looks like. All right, back in just a minute. All right, so now you see I have the pockets. The pockets are formed by folding the collar back. Does that make sense? There's side pockets like this, so I didn't have to create or knit a separate piece or turn something up and then sew around it. I just simply turn the collar back wide enough, and you can measure and keep putting your hands in. That's why you have to have it really wide, so that you'll have enough room to make a nice collar when you fold it back, and a place to put your hands. I have kind of, you know, small hands, and so it didn't take that much. So I can put my hands in as, you know, as you saw in the intro when I was wearing it. I can just slide my hands in, but they come in like this. See, they come, you just put your hands in like that. I had these extra buttons, so I went ahead and put 2. I put 3 on each side, but this one in the center is just a dummy button so that I can put my hands in. I thought that was cute, and I showed you how to sew these 2 to the front and back piece on this one too. Isn't that pretty? Now, you can be more creative and find something. If I'd had time, maybe I could have found some buttons that looked like pine cones or something, but hey, look, I'm telling you, we got to hit these videos. You got to you have to just go with it. And I didn't really feel like going out. So, and then the last thing that I needed to do, because you don't steam any of this, this is the garter stitch. This is the front part. Those are those 50 stitches that comes down each front. That's why you have to have a nice wide back, or so many repeats in the back to get the lace to go from shoulder across the back to the opposite shoulder. And then all these stitches are just knit every row. Now, the last thing that I did while I was steaming, I steamed my fringe. Now I'm going to lay it here so you can see it, because I like to. There's no other way to get this on here, so let me just show you how pretty it looks. Like I say, some people like curly hair, you know, curly fringe. I like to just steam mine, just to make it look pretty and flow. So I simply take it to my ironing board. I just simply hold my iron above it, and steam it, and then I hand comb it, just like this. I just take my fingers, comb it down, and I don't try, you know, I'm not over worried about trying to get it, all of them just so perfect. I do take my scissors, and if I see some, once I comb it down and some are sticking way down, I just lightly trim across. I don't try to overdo it or nothing. It's kind of it has a boho look to me. It has a little of the boho look, but it's a very casual pocket shawl that you just throw on. You can go to the grocery store, you can go anywhere, you can go out, you know, if you still go to movies or somewhere where you're going to go, you're going to go out and eat, but you don't really, it's not cold enough for a jacket yet or something like that. This is what you, and this color, I think it's just so pretty and neutral. It will go with anything. You could wear it with any color, and it would just be right for the season and neutral. So what do you think of that? What do you think of this so far? So, I'm going to put it back down, and then we'll just talk just for a minute. Okay. And like I said, here's a nice collar. You just keep folding it back. Put it in place. Put this shoulder in place, and you are done. And of course, don't forget to add yourself a little fall accent. It can be anywhere from a flower to something small or something large, even something created that you just create from just something you have. You know, these are just those little picks. What do you think of that? Well, my friends, I wanted to bring you a quick and easy project, and I'm trying always to kind of improve, and I'm thinking, you know, what better way than if I use a stitch that I've already demonstrated, that you already have, that a lot of you have already practiced, and then just simply show you how to construct or how to take that stitch and make something. And of course, I hope you will give it a try. I can't wait to see different yarns. You can work it up in any yarn you want to, people, because not everyone is. We're getting ready to go into, we're in the fall and we'll be going to winter, but some people are just the opposite, spring and summer. So if there's something else, a lighter weight or something, of course, we'd love to see that too. So I can't think of anything else but to just say thank you so much. I'm just, I want to, before I wouldn't dare go without saying thank you to my two friends, Helene over at Cabin Fever Crochet. Oh my gosh, she did an excellent job. She had a hat, and it was just beautiful. And then our friend Tom from the Needland Hooker. I'm telling you, it's so excited to have a man or a male point of view on some of the things that we want to create and share with you. Because a lot of times I just don't know how to do men things. So it would be good to have a man to take a stitch that we're going to use and then turn it or reinvent it or stitch it in a different way and share that too. And of course, what makes it so good, all three of us knit and crochet. So next time I may, whoever takes the lead, we're gonna share the whoever leads this time, then someone else will take the lead next time. We'll come up with a theme, an idea, a stitch, and then we don't tell each other what, show each other what we made, but we do collaborate. Like, what kind of project you think will go good? We go back and forth. But it's just so exciting to finally have someone because that's how you have to grow. You need someone to bounce things off of, to have someone to kind of give you a little input so that you're not just always in your own little bubble. So thank you. And Tom, again, before I leave, we are just over the moon and back about your singing, songwriting career. We hope that, please, I'm asking everyone to go over and watch his video. I'll remind you again, it's in our show notes or in the comment section. Go over and not only watch and listen, but just go ahead and subscribe. Look, it doesn't cost you anything, but it will mean the world to someone. Just like one day you're going to need someone to, to kind of come over and give you a little boost. And I know that would certainly make his day. So I'm just so glad that we can, and hopefully we can keep this going. Now, we won't do it this is not a monthly-like thing now. This is going to be every once in a while. We hadn't quite decided yet, but we'll do that soon and decide how many times we will have some type of collaboration. So I think I've covered everything. I think I have. So this is Jay, and of course I am so thankful for your support, your friendship, your fellowship. I thank you for just being a fan, just for someone to share what I love doing. And so to all my friends, everyone, everywhere, every size, I'm wishing you happy fall festival and happy knitting too. And don't forget to send me some pictures, because I want to do a Thanksgiving friendship album. I already have been collecting pictures already. People are sending me anything that you do from any of the stitches that I have on my channel. Then whatever project you make, you are welcome to send. And send more than one. Send 2 or 3 pictures, so that if one's not as good, then I can say, okay, this one's better or whatever. So I always take more than one picture, the front, the back, the sides. Just go for it. And then send them to me, and then I will save them and put them together to music and show off your beautiful talent. I can't wait. I can't wait to make you a bright, shining star. All right, have fun. Like I said, happy knitting, and I will see you And let's see, whatever. I know it's a surprise. I can't tell you. But I will see you next month with another surprise. Bye-bye.